question that I have is we've seen food prices come down. We've seen energy prices come down. I remember we commented about why food prices were high because it was more expensive to ship things due to higher energy costs. Yet we've seen energy costs come down, yet grocery store bills have remained high. And the reason why I'm talking about this, even if it's not directly a commodity trade, because it affects the macro economy with consumers having less money to spend on other things. And so why is it that the end grocery store food prices, especially for meats, remain elevated, even as if grains have gone down and transportation costs have gone down?
All right, meats are special. I'll get to that in a minute. But um, the bottom line is costs take a while to trickle through. And, the price of food and the grocery store shelf is almost always related more to packaging and shipping logistics and, the cost of labor than it is to the price of the commodity that's in that package. And it depends. The more highly processed it is, like a box of cereal, that's the price of whatever grains are in that cereal is far less influencing the retail price of the consumer than all the rest of the things I've mentioned. Whereas a package of meat, it's basically labor and shipping, but that's contingent upon supply. With cattle, and we talked about in detail, you and I, if I recall correctly, when the price of grain goes up, the people feeding cattle to fatten cattle to send it to market can't afford to feed that cattle. So they send them all to market. They send as many cows to market as possible. The farmers who can't just leave the cattle in the field on grass, they're going to send that cattle to market because their costs are too high. So when the price of feed grain spikes, like we saw 2 years ago when the war started, we saw the price of beef fall. Okay, the price of meats fall because all the ranchers were sending their whatever cattle they had to feed, they're sending it to slaughter. So you had an abundance of supply short term, and everybody knew that wouldn't last. And in the cases of cattle, it takes 18 to 20, 24 months to get a new cow in place. And so it takes a while. If a farmer makes a decision to get rid of his cattle, he's not going to the next day say, oops, I made a mistake, and get some breeder cattle in and start breeding. He's probably going to wait half a year or a year or more. So you're putting on the case of cattle 2 or 3 years on the cycle to correct. So we're 2 years into it. We've seen these really high cattle prices the last 6-8 months. That's because now all that cattle that went to slaughter due to high feed prices, there's a dearth of, if you will, cattle to be sent to slaughter and to be sent to feedlots. That'll correct. As grain prices come down, you're going to see more cattle go to feed, and then those meat prices will come down. And that's why there's that lag. It's a big lag in beef. It's less of a lag in pork. Pork's 12 to 18 months, closer to 12, and chickens are 10 weeks, 8-10 weeks.